I guess I must be a racist bigot because I really like Star Trek The Next Generation. And my favorite captain is, well, Jean-Luc Picard's definitely my favorite captain because he's such a stoic. It's such a great show, the philosophical consequences of technological development and different cultures and societies and how we'd interact with them in the future. But I do really like Janeway, and the reason I like Janeway so much, it's like a kind of a toss-up between Janeway and Picard. And I know there's going to be a lot of Trekkies who are scoffing right now and screaming, "How dare you!" I mean, look, all of the captains and commanders, they had, like, Sisko was badass. There was a meme I saw, and it was like, when Q goes to Deep Space Nine, Sisko punches him in the face and then never has to deal with him ever again. If you're not a fan of Star Trek, don't worry, I'm not going to rattle on too much longer. Suffice it to say, it's an amazing show. Star Trek was very progressive, both the original series and The Next Generation. But as you can see here from NBC, they said, new Star Trek reboot starring Patrick Stewart is CBS's latest all-access offering. But who's the audience? What? What do you mean, who's the audience? They said, the show is a dream come true for many Next Generation fans, but something of a retreat from the progressivism of Star Trek Discovery? What? Patrick Stewart is Jean-Luc Picard, one of the most iconic captains. I mean, like, as I mentioned, all of the main players, because they're not all captains, right? I think Sisko is a commander. They'll have their merits, and they're all amazingly written. Catherine Janeway in Voyager was one of the most, like, I don't know how to describe it, but she was willing to, she had much more guts, I think, than Picard, right? There's one episode where aliens are on their ship and she threatens to fly into between two stars, killing everybody. And she's like, I'm going to do it anyway. And I'm like, Janeway would take no shit from nobody. And that's why she's my second favorite and really close to Picard. But because The Next Generation was so amazing, Picard's up there. On Star Trek, you had James Kirk, a white man, Jean-Luc Picard, a white man, Catherine Janeway, a woman, and Sisko, a black man. And there's others. And now Discovery, I haven't actually watched Discovery because it's a prequel, but they have a black woman. And so Discovery is considered progressive. So essentially they're implying that because Patrick Stewart is a white man, it's a retreat from progressivism. And I think that's absolutely insane. You want to know who's the audience? Fans of Star Trek. This is where we've come in terms of nerd culture or just culture in general. They're actually asking who the audience is. It's almost like they say the show may be a dream come true for Next Generation fans. I mean, I'm a fan of all Star Trek. It's a dream come true, period. I was a little kid when Star Trek was on, and I routinely watch just through every season because, god damn it, I love The Next Generation. And now that Patrick Stewart is back, it's probably, I've never been more excited for a TV show. Seriously. So you want to know who the audience is? It's people who like Star Trek, period. But because he's a white man, they're acting like, but who'd want to watch a white man? So let's read what they actually wrote. They said, CBS's small screen Star Trek revival continues. At this year's Star Trek Las Vegas convention, Patrick Stewart, star of The Next Generation, made a surprise appearance to announce that there was a second Star Trek series coming to CBS. Reprising his role as the wise and steady Captain Jean-Luc Picard, the new show will be a sequel set 20 years after the final TNG installment, Nemesis. Awesome! I have been waiting for this for so long. You have no idea. Star Trek is awesome, and I want a sequel. Discovery is a prequel. The movies are alternate universe prequels. Let's keep going. The Next Generation. What happens next? They're doing it! Yeah, Enterprise was also a prequel. The prequel's out of here. DS9 was cool. It happened like... So this technically is after Deep Space Nine. I don't want to bore you with the fandom stuff. It's a dream come true for a generation of Star Trek fans who grew up on the rebooted concept as well as spin-offs, Deep Space Nine and Voyager, but it also represents a retreat from CBS from the progressivism of its first series on All Access, Star Trek Discovery. Why? Seriously, why? Star Trek, I think I could be wrong, but I believe the original series had the first interracial kiss on television. And The Next Generation was also very progressive, but also just so profoundly philosophical. There's an episode, I think it's called The Measure of a Man, where they argue whether or not Data, the android, is his own life. Is he sentient? Does he have rights? And these are the kind of questions that I think are incredible, and I love exploring this stuff. Why are they implying that it's a retreat from progressivism? Star Trek has always been progressive, and simply because there's a white man as the captain doesn't mean it can't be progressive. It's mind-blowing. There are no public scripts yet. Stewart confirmed the show will explore the later half of the beloved icon he spent 15 years playing. The later life, sorry. He also hinted that his character, who was the captain of the latest iteration of the USS Enterprise, the last time he was on the screen, might no longer be in command or even a part of Starfleet. Stewart has insisted for years that he would never reprise his role. So why the change of heart? The actor suggested the recent shift in the political and social climate helped change his mind. In a statement posted to Twitter, Stewart said he felt it was time to research and experience what comforting and reforming light he might shine in these dark times. And Jean-Luc Picard is one of the greatest television characters ever. Star Trek was always progressive. They always did a really good job. You had Captain Sisko, Commander, he was a captain eventually, who is a black man. You had Captain Catherine Janeway, a woman. And here's the thing, here's what I love about Star Trek. What I don't like about the social justice shoehorning is just that, the shoehorning. When they rub it in your face. Look, I am a diverse, multicultural person. My family is multicultural. And it never meant anything to me when I would watch Star Trek and see Captain Janeway. I was just like, wow, she's so cool. She's a badass. And when I would watch Deep Space Nine, Deep Space Nine's amazing. And I didn't sit there and scrutinize the identity of the captains. They just were people who were really good at what they did. And that's what I loved about it. Today, it seems like so much of it is we're going to gender swap on purpose, we're going to race swap on purpose, instead of just showing us that we're all people who do these things. I was at an event that I can't speak too much about. It was for YouTube a few years ago. And they were talking about diversity, and they were trying to figure out, some like diversity initiative stuff. And this was back in, I think, like 2012. And I said, why try and rub it in people's, don't make content that tries to explain to someone why being diverse is okay. All you have to do is show people of varying identities, religions, genders, whatever, doing normal things, right? They're normal people. I assure you, the black guy across the street goes to the shop to get milk and eggs, same as I do. And that's the important thing, is to humanize people, to stop calling them something else, to stop treating people like monsters. When they say that it's a retreat from progressivism, I have to wonder, it's more of the shoehorning. It's more of an invert shoehorning, inverse. I don't know how to describe it, but of course you can be progressive if you're a white male. I don't understand. There's tons of white male feminists who go around and they're progressive. So how is it a retreat from progressivism if you have a white male telling you to not be racist, right? So let's see what else they got. The Next Generation arrived in 1987. When the country's conservative turn under Ronald Reagan was feeling more and more entrenched, the show championed liberal values, but the cast was more than 75% white and male, and the production team behind it was 100% both. Okay. With liberals feeling increasingly under attack again, a TNG reboot feels timely, perhaps even comforting. It is, in other words, the opposite of an authoritarian dystopia like The Handmaid's Tale. As a bonus, Stewart himself is openly liberal, championing women in the Me Too era, discussing the lasting effects of domestic violence on society, and campaigning for equality for all. He is that rare A-list celebrity who remains unsullied by scandal or hypocrisy. It's like they're surprised that a classically trained actor could be progressive because he's a white male. But CBS isn't just bringing back Captain Picard because of the current political climate. It's actually one of 4 rumored Star Trek shows for the All Access channel, including a teen-oriented series, which will probably resemble what already airs on sister network CW. The fact that Stewart's show was announced first could be coincidence, but probably not. More likely, CBS is using the nostalgic reboot to placate the white male demographic that felt alienated by the network's first Trekkie reboot, Discovery, a show which was legitimately diverse and therefore immediately controversial. No! Oh my God! The original Star Trek series had the first interracial kiss. There's a famous story. I don't know if it's true, but apparently the woman who played Uhura was talking to Martin Luther King Jr. I'm probably ruining the story, but she said she didn't want to be on the show, and he said, "You are fourth in command of a Federation starship. You do not leave that show." But, basically, they had the highest ranking, the 4th highest ranking person on a ship was a black woman, and this is back, in the 60s, the original series, okay? Star Trek has always been progressive. and they want to placate the white male demographic that was alienated by Discovery. You want to know why I don't watch Discovery? My brother does. He said it's awesome. I don't because I'm tired of prequels, okay? After, I don't know if it was, I don't think it was after DS9, but when Enterprise came out, it was a prequel. And I shrugged like, yeah, I really want to know what comes next for the Federation in the Star Trek universe. And they keep making prequels, and Discovery is a prequel. And I'm kind of like, I don't want to watch a show about the Federation fighting Klingons. After Nemesis, it's very likely that the Romulans will be allied with the Federation, or at least there's a potential for peace. And so I'm all like, oh, cool, man, what happens next? And they keep saying, yeah, we're not going to tell you. But now they're saying they're going to tell me. It has nothing to do with race. It has nothing to do with any of... Oh, my God. Can't we just like our shows? And can't we actually complain about shows for things other than race? Okay, they want to placate the white male demographic. Well, I don't know exactly what the white males were concerned about, but I can tell you straight up, I'm tired of prequels. I didn't watch Enterprise and I didn't watch Discovery because I want to know what comes next. But it seems like no matter what, they're like, oh my God, and they're saying that the reason it might be a coincidence, but probably not, saying that CBS is bringing back Picard because they want to placate white men. It's possible that they're bringing back Picard because Patrick Stewart is one of the most famous celebrities in the world. He plays Professor X in the X-Men movies, okay? He was one of the most iconic Star Trek captains for one of the most viewed shows of its time. It's one of the highest rated shows. I don't know, where it's at now, but it was like syndicated. Dude, bringing him back is a huge PR move for Star Trek, period. And it just really bothers me that we can't accept the fact that Patrick Stewart is an awesome person, who is a great actor, who played a great character, and continues to do that. Why can't we just look at this show and say, that's really cool that they're bringing back someone as amazing as Patrick Stewart? They even talk about how he's a progressive. What's the problem? Why are you going to assume that this is all about pleasing white people? Millions, tens of millions of people watched that show, and I assure you they weren't all white. A show focused on an aging white male hero known for his calm equilibrium and wisdom is a sharp U-turn from Discovery, which stars a diverse crew focusing on a young woman of color, played by Sonequa Martin Green. After 50 years of paying lip service to equality in a future where sexism and racism were problems of the past, this new series features a cast that matches the rhetoric. What about Catherine Janeway? What about Benjamin Sisko? You're wrong. This is... You know what? But look at me, a fan of the Star Trek series. Not entirely, like I said, I didn't watch Discovery or Enterprise, but a lot of the Star Trek series here telling you, NBC News, think about why you're wrong. I think too much of these op-ed pieces, they don't know anything about it. I feel like they don't know anything about Star Trek. They don't know anything about the fan base. They make assumptions that nerds must be white men, and that's just so damn offensive. I play Magic the Gathering. I have my cards right behind me. You can't really see them. They're actually right there. I watch Star Trek. I grew up playing Pokemon and all these other nerdy type things and watching anime. And I have friends. My friends were a diverse crew. We were a multiracial group of young folks, young ruffians romping about skateboarding and watching Dragon Ball Z. And it was never a thing to us that Picard was a white guy or that Ben Sisko was a black guy. It was just like, these are cool people that we looked up to. Benjamin Sisko, Catherine Janeway, we had diversity. On Voyager, they had diversity. They have aliens on the show. And I feel like this is just, I'm looking forward to the show. It just bothers me that our culture today is so obsessed with race, is so obsessed with identity, that we can't just be like, what a smart person who did awesome stuff. Anyway, I'm pretty sure the people who aren't fans of Star Trek probably clicked out of here a long time ago. But if you agree with me, tell me what you think about Star Trek, and we'll have a Trekkie fan episode here. And let me just say, when I heard the news that Patrick Stewart was coming back, wow, was I happy, to say the least. Anyway, stick around. I think I might have one or two more videos.